Hello guys, as promised, I'm going to show you today how to integrate a webcam with your Scriptcase form. We're going to begin straight away with the table creation. This is our table. It's a simple table, an ID field, an image field, and a name field. So guys, we are going to use the name and the ID fields to set the name for the image. So we're going to use the webcam to take snapshots, to take pictures. So the ID and the name are going to be used as the name of the image, and the name is going to be saved on this field here. So this field is going to be also Washa. I'm going to set it as 100. So that's it. That's the only table that we're going to use for this project. So I'm going to save it. There we go. ID. Oh, I forgot something. Let me set it here, and I need to set this as my primary key. So there we go. So we have our three fields. So after that, I'm going to create our first. Oh, before that, maybe you've seen the prior webinar that didn't work so well. But anyways, I'm going to use an external library. This one. Webcam_JS. I'm going to delete this one so I can show you the whole process. I'm going to create a new library. I'm going to set the library as webcam_JS. Then I create it. Here it is. I'm going to edit it, and I'm going to upload my library. It's in storage webcam. Here it is. So that's the library. Guys, all these files that I'm going to use during our webinar, you're going to have access to it later, okay? So this is my library. I'm going to edit. So here it is. I'm going to just show you some files in here. Guys, these are the files for the library. I didn't create this library. This library was found on GitHub. I just added it to Scriptcase. There are most important files that you can see here. You can analyze this library for yourselves, but just for a quick explanation, we have the webcam.js. This contains most of the functions that we are going to use to capture the image and to use the webcam itself. This is the flash file. This is used to display the image itself from the webcam. Okay, so this is the library, and here it is. I have to click Use Library. Okay, so let me click it, and there you go. And then I say Save the project libraries. So data saved successfully. This library is now ready to be used on my project. This project here, webnow_webcam_eng. Okay, so now we're going to create our form. For this project, I'm going to use a form application and a blank application. Okay, so for starters, let's create our form. We're going to use our table. This one, let me refresh it. This is so here. I've refreshed it. There you go. Here is my table. We're going to name it, leave it as form webcam.eng for this webinar. No worries about it. Let's create it. Here you go. Okay, so this is our form. It has only those three fields: the ID field, the name field, and the image field. Let me run it so you can see. Here it is, the name and the image. The ID is not in here because this is a new record. So we have the name and the image in here. So guys, the first thing that we have to do, we have to add the libraries that we are going to use on this project. There is that one library, the external library that we used, and also the libraries for Bootstrap. So let me show you in here. These are the libraries that we're going to use. So we have in here, we have the Bootstrap libraries, and we also have the external library that we've just added. Okay, so guys, just a quick explanation in here. I'm using the SCC URL library macro from Scriptcase to help me out in here. So this is the scope of the library. So where is this library? So when we check here on external libraries, it's on public. So for public, we have to set this parameter as sys for system. Okay, so this one is public. So in here we set it as sys. This is the name of the library. Here, webcam_js. This is the path to the file that we are going to use, the main file from that library. So remember that I showed you before. Here on edit, see. First we go to the first folder. It's webcam master, and then the file webcam.js. So this is the path to that file. Okay. When you are using external libraries, you have to understand your library to know which file to add to your app. Okay, so for this one, we are adding this file in here, webcam.js. So guys, for this project, we are going to do some different things that we've done on prior webinars. I'm going to create a new field. We are going to use an old trick of replacing the contents of a field with something else. In this case, I'm going to replace it with a bootstrap button, just to make it a little bit prettier. So I'm going to create a field, a virtual field named button. So what am I going to do with this button field? I'm going to replace it, but as of now, it's just a new field on my form. So in here, we have it here, a button field. Okay? So guys, what I'm going to do, I'm going to, instead of having this input here, I'm going to have a bootstrap button. So where do I change it? I'm going to, for now, to use the onload event. Just a quick reminder for all of you guys, this is just the way that I found that it was the best way to teach about these sort of operations. You may want to change it, you may find different ways. That's the pretty thing about programming. There are different ways of achieving the same thing. So I'm going to add my button in here. So this is what I'm doing. I'm going to replace the field button. Remember, we've just added the button field in here. So when I inspect it, I'm going to see that it has an ID. You see here? This is the ID. I want to replace this ID, this field that has this ID with my bootstrap button. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm loading. I'm assuming that you understand the functionality of this function, the document.ready function. What it's doing, it's waiting for the document to be ready in here, the document, the page itself to be ready, to then to start doing some things, okay? The things that I want to do inside the function. So in this case, I want the page to be ready. So my field is loaded on my page. Once my field is loaded, I'm going to get that field and replace it with my bootstrap button. So this is my bootstrap button, and this button is going to work as the take picture button. So once it's in here, let me run it, and you can see it how this replacing works. You see here the take picture button. It doesn't do anything as of now, but once I'm done editing, this is going to work to open my webcam to be used to take the picture. Okay, so first thing, added the bootstrap button in there. Okay, so now I'm going to organize my my form to look a little bit prettier, to look a bit nicer for my application. I want it to look a little bit different. I'm going to use the native functions of layout on Scriptcase. Okay, so what I'm going to create two new blocks. First one, I'm going to name it webcam. This one is going to contain the webcam itself, the image from the webcam, sorry. And I'm going to create the button block as well. So we have these two blocks to organize my form. I'm going to set the position for the webcam one to beside. You're going to understand next. And I don't need the labels for them, so I'm going to disable the labels in here. So after that, I'm going to set the positioning for those fields. Webcam is going to contain the image field, and the button block is going to contain the button field. Let me save it. Let me see if it was saved on my layout as well. Below beside us. Let's see if it's looking nice as I want it to. No, it's not. Let me try to fix it. Let me see what I did wrong. Here, yes, it's beside, below, beside. That's it. Let me see it. There we go. So that's it. That's how I want it to look. In here, it's going to contain the image. In here, the name of the image itself, and the take picture button. Okay, so now I'm going to create my model for that, the webcam itself. So it's going to, guys, when I click on the take picture button, I want to open a modal window where I'm going to see the image from the webcam itself. A little bit different, a little bit nicer. So I'm going to go to my onload event, the event that I set up to replace the contents of that button field. I'm going to add the modal for the bootstrap. I have it ready on the side here. Let me paste it for you guys. So I'm going just to replace this one with the new one. This is the old code that we had, just the replacing from the button, and this is the modal for our webcam. Okay, so when what do I want to do? When I click on this button, you can see here it already has the data target and the data total. So when I click on my bootstrap button, I want it to open a modal window, this one, which is going to contain some of the functions. Didn't show yet. I'm going to show these functions for the webcam itself. So when I click on that button, let it finish to generate. I want it to open my modal window. Here it is. Okay, this modal window has one button, the take pic button, that it's going to use a save photo function. I'm going to show you about this save photo function now. So guys, when I click on the take picture, it is going to open my modal window. When I click on the take pic, I want it to open my webcam image. I don't have it set up yet, so that's why this button is not working as of now. So guys, so what did I do so far? I've created the button, I've replaced that button with a bootstrap button. When I click on that button, I want it to open a modal window. This modal window is going to have the image from my webcam and a take pic button as well. This button is also a bootstrap button. So let's go. Now we're going to also add the code for the webcam itself. Let me get it here on the side. Here it is. So guys, this is my modal window. We had it before. This is the jQuery function to replace the contents from the field with my bootstrap button, and these are the functions from my library, the library that I've set up, the webcam _js library. So it has some setting functions in here, the width, the height, and things like that. But it also has my save photo function. Remember, on my model, I had this save photo function in here. When I clicked on my take pic button, I wanted to save the photo itself. So in here, it's going to, with this, I'm adding my my webcam image to my model. Okay, you can analyze it further, but that's just what it's doing. It's setting up the webcam image on my model window. Okay, and when I click on that save photo function, I want it to execute the save photo function over here. As of now, this is not complete. This is just to show you what happens. I'm going step by step so you can understand it properly. So let's run our application. Here you go. Here it is. See, it's asking me to allow the use of my webcam. I'm going to set it to allow. So you see that it shrunk a little bit. And now when I click on take picture, it's going to open a modal. Here I am. Hello guys, that's me. So that's my modal window over here. And when I click on take pic, I want it to take the picture, but it's not going to work as of now. This is just the first step of the application itself. So this is the webcam working, just the steps needed to make the webcam already integrated with your form. But now I want it to have functionality as well. So guys, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to edit once again my own load. Remember, I'm going step by step. You have the access to the codes I'm using on this webinar later. Once the webinar is posted on YouTube, you will also have the codes for it. So here it is. So now I've edited my save photo function to work a little bit differently. So on my modal window, I have an exit button. Here it is, the exit button. So when I click on the exit button over here, this is the exit button. When I click on it, I want it to close the modal. So what I wanted to do as well, this is just the choice I made for it. So you can make it differently. But when I want it so that when I click on the take pic button, I'm simulating the click on the exit button as well. So it's closing the modal. Okay. Then I'm also saving the image. Okay. So I'm calling this other function in here. This wasn't here before. So this save PNG, what is it doing? It's taking the image from that frame on our webcam and sending it via post to a blank application. So guys, let me go back through the steps. So when I click on the save pic, on the take pic button, this one, when I click on the take pic button, I want it to save the image in a variable. You see in here, this is my variable ing, and send it to my blank application that's going to perform the conversion from base64. So guys, what is the base64 form? When I create that image, it's going to be saved as a series of characters. It's going to be a really long string that's going to contain the information for the image itself. Why am I using a post type from my Ajax function in here? It's a really long string. Some browsers, they do not support really long strings on the URL itself. So if I chose via get, the variables would go straight into the URL itself, just like this rand variable here. It's containing the value for this rand variable is straight on the URL. I would run into some problems by sending the image via get, so that's why I send it via post. And some of you might use it for security reasons, just to not have the image straight on the URL itself. So that's it. And I'm also sending the image underscore name of this is the variable that's going to contain the name of the image. On my record, I have this name field in here. So what am I doing before everything? So here we have the ID underscore SC field name. This is the ID for the name of our image. So before everything, we have it in here. What I'm doing, once again, document.ready, I'm waiting for the field to be loaded, and then I'm setting the image underscore name variable to get the value of that field. Okay, it's the value of the field, of the name field, and also for the ID of that image. Just to make each image unique, that's what I'm doing. I'm getting the name that may be repeated. Some people may have the same name, obviously, but you can't have the same ID for the records. Okay, so we have the name field and the ID field, where I'm going to concatenate them and create a unique name for each picture. Okay, this I didn't cover before. I'm just replacing the image field that was on the side of here. I don't know if you can see it. See, it's just a tiny little splotch in here. So I'm using it. I'm replacing it with a with the image that we're going to capture from our webcam. So this image is going to be saved on this path over here. I'm going to cover this on our blank app itself. So what do I have so far? Let's remember. I have I think I've generated the last version, but just to be sure, let me generate it again. So here you go. So let me refresh it. We have the take picture button. When I click on take picture, it's gonna take me here. I'm going to click on take picture, and here we go. The image is over here. Okay, that's what it's doing. It's replacing it with the image taken from my webcam. Okay, so what are we going to do now? Remember, I have this save_png function in here. It's sending it via post to another app on my project, the save pic app. Let's create it. We're going to set it up. This blank app is going to handle the conversion from base64 to PNG. Let me see the name again. Yes, save pic. So it's going to convert from base64 to PNG. I'm going to set up the function in here. So this is the PHP routine to convert it from base64 to PNG. I'm going to use a local Windows path here to save my images. It's going to go on my Scriptcase folder, file, and img. I'm using the absolute path. You can use a relative one. Just make sure that the path that you're choosing is a valid path with permissions to save on your server. Okay. So what is this routine here doing? I have two variables here: the image variable and the name variable. They are receiving the value from my post variables that were set on my Ajax function over here. So I'm sending the img that is containing the base64 from my snap over here, from my save photo, and I'm also sending the underscore the img underscore name variable as well. So it's going to be used to save the image with that name. So what am I doing? I get those two variables, and then I start to manipulate them. So the first one, the image variable, I have to convert it from base64 to PNG. I'm using PNG here. If you wanted to, you could use JPEG. It's not the routine for me. I prefer to use PNG. It's easier to manipulate. So I'm using PNG, and then this variable here, file data, it's receiving the image converted from base64 to PNG. So after I have that information converted, I want to save it on my server. So I'm going to set up a file name. It has to be the complete file name. The complete file name means the path and the name itself. The name itself, it's going to have it's going to be a concatenation. If you remember over here, it's a concatenation from the name of the name of the record, the name set up on my name field over here, underscore the ID of that record. So on my blank app, I have it saving on this path with the name that I've set up on my form. Okay, and then I use the file underscore path underscore contents function from PHP to save that file on that with that name. Okay, so let's see if it works as we expect. I'm going to generate my blank application so it's possible to be used. Here you go, it's finished. Now I can use it. So when I click on my take picture, it's going to open my form itself. Let's create it with a test name. So it's going to be the first one. So I'm going to assume that it's going to be saved on my server as test_1. The ID is going to be 1. So when I click on take picture, here am I again. Take pic, nice face. When I click on include, here we go. It's saved. Okay. I'm going to click on. And here it is. Well, where is it? Why isn't my image being shown over here? Let's analyze on my path to see what might be happening. So I'm going to my chosen path, C, program files, and netmake v9. Here it is, Scriptcase, file, img. We have some random files over here, but we also have the image that I just took. If you see over here, it's saved as _.png. Well, where is the name and the ID itself? So, why is it _.png? So guys, it's just an intrinsic curiosity of the whole process. The thing is, when I click on take picture, and when I click on take a new picture, and make a new face, here it is, better face. I don't have the values over here yet. I'm going to click, okay, create a new one, test2. When I click on save, when I run this routine over here, I don't have any of those informations to be used yet. So that's why I'm going to do them after I insert the record. So on my after insert event, I need to run a new routine. Let me get it over here, and here it is. I'm going to rename that file with the information that I need. So let me use the proper ones, the ones from Windows. Oh, here we go, and there it is. So what am I doing here? I have a file name. That file name has to be this, the path, the name field. Here you see it's a field variable, _ID field. So once after I insert it, I'm getting the complete name, the proper name of it, on the .png, and I'm going to rename that file. I'm going to look for that _.png file and rename it with my new file name. So that's the routine that I'm doing here. Let me generate it, and it's going to be ready for me to test it. Here we go. Let me cancel this one just to refresh it. A new record. Let me take a picture. Here I am, taking a picture. And now I'm going to name it as test2 as I intended. I'm going to include it. And let's check on my server. Here we go. test2_2. So this is the proper image, the proper name. So it renamed it with this one. So this is the proper one. It renamed the first image that we took. It saved on top of it. It overwrote the first one. Not to worry. This is just because the app is in construction. It's not going to work once. It's not going to happen like that once it's finished. So it found that _.png image, renamed it, overwrote it with the new image. This one that we've just took. Let me open it with I don't know, maybe yeah. Just click on that. There we go. This is the image that we've just took. So it found that _.png, overwrote it, and then on my own after insert routine, it went in and renamed it with, as we intended, the name of the record. Let me show you over there. Let me cancel it. Here we go. The name of the record _ its ID. So it's test2, the name of it, test2 _ the ID 2. See, there you go. The name of it and the ID. Okay. So guys, is it finished? Not as of now. We have to take care of some details as of for now. There are some details to be set up. So guys, I've set it up so you can save on our server properly, but there is a problem. Let me save another record just so you can see. I'm going to create it as hello. Let me take the picture. Here I am again. Taking the picture. There it is. I'm going to include it. Let me cancel it. And here it is. We have the hello image. And once I come back, we have this output showing up. And also, if you see, the image is not changing. Okay, so I have to set up another routine to refresh this image so it shows up the correct image, and also I need to take care of this Ajax output being shown all the time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the onNavigate event. The onNavigate event handles the moment when I navigate through the form. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm navigating. So on my onNavigate, I'm going to set up a calling of a JavaScript method. So let me create that JavaScript method. What is that JavaScript method going to do? It's going to refresh that image so it contains the proper, so it's going to refresh, let's name it as a refresh. It's going to refresh that image. So what is it doing? I'm going to get an image name. It's going to contain the value for the name field underscore the value for the ID, and then I'm going to look into my file, the slash image folder. I'm going to go to the folder that contains my images and look for the proper image with that name and that ID and refresh it. This is the procedure to refresh my pic underscore img iframe that it's set up in here. Let me show you on my onload event. Let's save that in here. If you see, this is the one. This image it has the ID pic underscore image, and it's looking for the image with a name on this folder. So what I'm doing, I'm refreshing this this image tag over here that has the pic img ID. So I'm refreshing it. I'm getting that pic underscore img field that has this ID, sorry, and I'm just refreshing it. I'm setting the source to be a new source with the name and ID from the correct record. So I'm going to go to my onNavigate event and I'm going to call this JavaScript method that I've just created. And once again, this is the editors for the events. They are PHP environments. What this macro is doing over here is making my life easier. I'm calling a JavaScript method straight on my PHP environment. Okay, so this is Scriptcase helping me, making my life a little bit easier. So I'm calling for the JavaScript method straight, my refresh method is straight on my PHP environment on my onNavigate event. So what is this method? What is this method doing? It is refreshing the image from to use the correct image from the correct record. So let's run it. Let's see it happening. So when I go over here, when I go to record number 2, it's going to show the proper image, and when I go to record number 3, it's going to show the proper image for that record. Okay, so now I have to take care of that Ajax output. Simple enough. Just go to Application, Settings, and disable it over here. Ajax error output, disable it. Let's run it. And here you go, number 2 and number 3. Okay, so guys, let's analyze how my database is looking so far. I'm going to go to my database. I'm going to select the data from my table over here. We have 3 records. Guys, what it's going to be a little bit useful for you is to have this image field that only contains on my app itself. It's not being used for database inclusions. So what it's doing is just containing the image snapped from my webcam. So what I wanted to have on my database is the name for that image. Okay, so I'm going to set up a routine to save the name of the image in this field over here. Okay, so where do I set up that routine? I'm going to set it up also on my onAfterInsert event. So in here, just below, this is the routine. So what is it doing? Let's analyze it a little bit further. So I'm selecting the last inserted ID. This is a function for MySQL only. You have to look for it. There are plenty of ways to get the last inserted ID on other databases if they don't have the exclusive function as MySQL has it. So from my table, I'm selecting the last inserted ID. So I'm using the sc lookup macro to get that last inserted ID. I'm saving it on my ID variable. Okay, this is an echo just for debugging purposes. And then I'm going to set up an update. So after I insert the record, I'm going to update my table to contain the image, the proper name, the proper image name from our record. So it's going to contain the name underscore ID. Guys, these procedures, you may change it, you may want to change it, sorry. So that's just a way of me doing it. You can base your own routines on this webinar. It's not the complete thing. It's just a way to base it, to get a grip of how to do some of those things. Okay, so that's what we have. It's going to save it, and then I'm going to use the macro SQL to update my to run this query. The query that's on my update variable, it's going to run this query over here. So it's going to then update it with that name. Let's run it. Let's see what's going to happen. So set up a new record. I'm going to call it test4. I'm not sure if I had test4 as well. Let's go over here. Let's take a pic. And I'm going to click include. Here is my debugging output. I'm going to remove it over here. It's working as expected. And then I'm going to check on my, let's just for checking purposes, here it is, test4, correct image, and correct image as well. And let's check on my database. I'm going to refresh it, and here it is. Now on my database, along with the ID, the proper values for the form itself, I also have the name of the field, of the image inserted in here. So you can maybe use this for other types of routines of yours. And that's it, guys. The other ones aren't here because the ready app is off now. This is the ready app. I can go in here and just to show it working, I'm going to delete all the records. This would be the proper app. This is the ready app. So I'm going to refresh it. 0 apps. Let me take some pictures. That's it. It was just because I can't include anything if I don't have the proper function here. So when I click include, it's going to set up the problem. When I'm trying to include an empty record, and it's going to my on after insert event and looking for something to rename. There is nothing there. So I'm going to first I need to take the picture, and I'm naming it test 5, not 54, just 5, and I'm including it. Let me include. There you go. It's still here because I didn't generate. No issue. But once I go to my database, it's going to be shown over here. And here we go. These are the random clicks that I did that generated that problem. Just the testing ones. And this is the one here. I can delete it. Tarcísio, tu bota a partir de agora, na hora que eu falei que eu ia começar, a primeira vez que eu apaguei para agora, aí tu bota para vir de agora, vê se? Como se eu tivesse apagado só agora. Beleza? Okay, so I've deleted the records. I'm going to do a little trick over here. I'm going to reset my auto increment. I'm going to run this command, alter table. The name of my table, webcam underscore eng table, and then auto increment equals 1. This is just resetting the auto increment. I forgot the and. Here you go. So I just resetted it, so it runs as it never had any records. So I have an empty table, I have an empty form, I removed the output, so let's run it. Here you go. We have an empty table, so no records. Let me take a picture. Here we go. Let's name it just test, since I don't have any records on my table. I'm clicking to include. There we go. Once I check on my table, it's going to be over here, done as properly. Okay, guys. So that's it, guys. That's it for our webinar. I hope I was able to pass on the information as best as one could, and I hope you are able to create a form with the webcam integrated easily. Okay, that's it. Bye bye, guys.